Okay, welcome. I have half an hour to present you some aspects of the huge, big program about research and innovation from Europe. It's named Horizon Europe. I guess some of you know about it. For those that don't know, I will go through it rapidly and then focus on what is the topic today, which is about civil security for society, and especially every topic related to border management and flow management. So this is what we are talking about is this big program called Horizon Europe. As you know, it's a European program, and to support this program, each country was asked to set up a kind of organization, national organization. And I am part of this national organization, hosted by the Ministry of Education and Research. It was named also Innovation, but the name just changed with the new government a few weeks ago. And part of this organization, the organization is structured along the program, and I am a member of what we call the National Contact Point. I am Frédéric Perland. We have also what we call the Program Committee Representative, which is a representation of France to organize and support Europe in building this program. So here I am going just to present you one aspect of this big program. So this big program is the framework program for research and innovation of Europe. As you can see, it's quite a big program because it is around 100 billion euro over 7 years. As you can see, it is structured in different what we call pillars. And the idea of this program is to support and to reinforce the scientific and technology basis of the Union, but not only the research and scientific basis, but also to provide and stimulate the capabilities and the capacities of Europe in terms of innovation and competitiveness. Because if you spend a lot of money, it's also because you want some return. So the return is about job creation and competitiveness of the industry and on the European ecosystem. But we do that following the general strategic political priorities of the Union. So you will see that this is something important because the way the research and the innovation is structured and the different impacts that are expected from this program are directly linked to the strategic political priorities of the Union and the way we want to do it. And of course, Europe is part of the world, so basically the program is also focused on all the main problematics and all the big challenges that we face, the world is facing. Especially in terms of sustainable developments. So this is also a strong aspect of this program. So here you see there are, we call it pillars, even if there are 3 pillars plus a kind of the support layer. So the main pillars are along what we could call the technology relevant readiness level, TRL. Basically, pillar 1 is low TRL. It's about science, so it's about a lot of research, about of PhD students to support PhD students at the European level, and it's basic research, I would say, up to TRL 3 to 4. Then we have the main pillar in terms of budget, which is addressing the global challenges and the European to support the European industrial competitiveness. And this pillar is structured in many different thematics, and it's what we will focus on. It's about collaborative programs at European level, at a large scale, to address these different thematics. And the last pillar, which was reinforced with this new program, basically Horizon Europe is also called sometimes the 9th Research and Innovation Program of European Union, because this is not the first one, the 9th, so it means that we had around 60 years of framework program, but this is by a lot the biggest, and basically it has been restructured a little bit this year to reinforce the innovation aspects. And this third pillar, with especially the European Innovation Council, is focusing also a lot on SMEs. And for the first time in the history of the Research and Innovation European program, this program is also giving grants, so you are paid to do your research, but you are also, Europe is taking equity in SMEs that are disruptive and are winning because it's a contest, it's a European contest, are winning the pot, so they may also get some equity from Europe, and this is the third pillar. It's more focused on innovation and SMEs. And the last pillar is more about how to strengthen the European research and how to better organize because we know that research and innovation, the main difficulties is to go from low TRL up to the commercialization and to the market. So how could we better organize the way we do it in Europe to get to the market? So we are going to focus on the pillar 2, and this pillar is structured along thematics that are also called clusters. It's definitely a top-down approach because, as you will see, the way it was built is a kind of hierarchical approach where you start with the strategic political priorities of the European Union, and especially the Sustainable Development Objective from the United Nations, because you have these 17 Sustainable Development Objectives that were at the start of the definition of what are the strategic political priorities of Europe. So basically, as you know about these 17 Sustainable Development Objectives, they are centered on societal problematics and global challenges. And the way it is written is really focused on expected impacts. So you start from the expected impact, and then you build up a program that tries to answer to this expected, to fulfill and to deliver this expected impact. As I said, this pillar is very specific because it is a focus on what we call collaborative projects. So it means that you cannot answer this project alone. You have to do it in collaboration with other partners. So this is not an easy task, I would say, especially when you have some constraints. At the minima, you will see 3 countries have to answer together. So this is a challenge, but it is also an opportunity, as it focuses on transdisciplinary activities, transsectorial and transnational. So a lot of across Europe objectives to collaborate and to support also the building of Europe. Basically, these programs are around 2 to 3 million, 4 or 5 on average, but it can go up to 10 or 20 million euro for some of the programs where you have quite a lot of partners and the topic is well described and funded. We'll see that there are some of the programs that are more funded than others because there are priorities for this very call. And basically, it's 3 to 4 years program. It can be 2 for a small one, but it's generally the average time for this kind of project. We will describe it later on, but we have different types of program and projects according to their TRL level and the expectation of the program. So one way to build up and one criteria of eligibility to be able to submit such a collaborative project is, as we are in Europe, is the first one is at minima 3 independent legal entities from 3 member states or associated countries to Horizon Europe are necessary to be able to be eligible. So you need to be 3, and the 3 of each of you has to be, at least you need to have 1 member state and 2 associated members, but the best is to have 3 member states, and of course to have more member states and associated members is better for the program. So just as a recall, on the right you have, beside the 27 EU member states, you have quite a few associated nations or being associated, because this association to the program is a process in discussion. So some of the countries are still discussing, but the one that you see here have, I believe, already signed an associated contract with European Horizon Europe program, which means that they will be funded by the program. If you have a partner coming from this country in your consortium, it would be funded in the program. One little, we have to be careful because Switzerland is not anymore part of it. It used to be in the previous program, but the contract is not finalized yet. It doesn't mean that you cannot have any partners from Switzerland, but they won't be funded, so they have to get their own funding to be doing the program. And we have a specificity with third nations. Some of these nations, like especially the small and medium income countries, are automatically eligible for funding. Of course, you have to get to the list, which is updated regularly. And according to the topic, there may be some countries that are asked to be part of it. So it can go beyond the EU member states or the associated nation. You can get in some project, on some topics, you can have extra countries that are requested to participate. So just now that you know how to build your consortium, you need to know how to be the best and to be selected. So we have basically three main evaluation criteria, which have been the same for quite a long time in the program. First of all, the excellence, because as it is a research and innovation program, you basically need to be the best and to be at the state of the art or to demonstrate that. So there is a strong focus on the excellence of the proposal. And as you will see, Europe tries to be an open and inclusive and democratic society. So open science is also specifically on this program requested, at least on what you can disseminate in an open way, but if you are able to do so, this is a plus. Second point, which is very important, and I will come back on it, is impact. As I said, the program was structured along the impacts, expected impacts, and there is a key impact pathway that has been integrated in the program, and you better follow this and make sure that when you do a proposal, you demonstrate that you will have an impact on the different aspects, and you will see this one. And of course, you have to demonstrate that your consortium is not just to fulfill the eligibility criteria, but is sound and efficient in the implementation, and you have complementarities, you have excellence on each of the partners, and the team together is unique, and the quality of this team for the implementation is also evaluated. This is evaluated through evaluator experts that are international experts that are part of the program of Horizon Europe. And basically, to give you an idea, between the moment you submit your proposal and the moment you get a contract, if you are selected, you have around 8 to 9 months, I would say. Basically, this is the timing. And on most of the thematics, and especially on the on this thematic of security, you have one call per year. So one call per year, and every year you have a new call. Sorry, Ah, pas trop. D'accord. Ok. Ok.
Animation permanente de 9h30 à 12h30. Dear visitors and exhibitors, come and live the real CBRN disaster experience with the health crisis demonstrator on the Eurosatory live demonstration space. Permanent animation from 9:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m.
Okay, I go on. Basically, it gives you every year, for 7 years, you will have a call and an opportunity to submit a proposal, and you will be awarded a contract for 3 to 4 years, basically, 9 months after. One novelty, but this is for those that know and were aware and were submitting proposal in Horizon 2020, because the previous program for last 7 years was called Horizon 2020. The submission has been simplified and reduced, so you have now to submit 45 pages maximum, and according to the type of program you are addressing, you may also go down to 30 pages. So, but this is just a detail. What is important is that when you submit a proposal, you answer to a text which is describing a topic. You will see this text is not very long because it is about research and innovation. So you want to open up the opportunity to basically submit innovation and new things. It's a competition, it's a contest. But what is very important is to demonstrate that you will have, your proposal will have an impact, and will have not only a scientific impact, but very important, what is very important, it will have mainly a societal impact and an economic impact. It's true that for some of the topics where you are expected to have a high TRL at the end of the project, the economic impact is very important, but nevertheless for all kind of topics and all kind of calls, having these 3 impact is very important. Having it in mind and being able to demonstrate that your project will address them and have a real impact is very important. So we have 3 kind of type of collaborative projects, as I said, along the TRL, but some are a little bit upstream, like research and innovation action, where you do more research and you go up to trial of prototype, but it's still at small scales. You may not demonstrate a full system, but you demonstrate technology capabilities or subsystem capabilities through prototypes. Then you have what we call innovation actions that are closer to the market, basically, where you are expected sometimes, and I would say it's a good point to do it every time, to demonstrate things, to do exercise, not only to go to pilot, but to demonstrate the capability you are trying to, and the innovation you are trying to push forward. And there are some activities where either you need to get together to sum up and to basically support a domain, and by opening to different stakeholders, and these are the coordination and support actions. Sometimes it helps to build networks of stakeholders, but it can be also to wrap up knowledge on a topic and to deliver studies, report, and strategic planning. So these are generally smaller projects, but they can be interesting to know about. So just to summarize the TRL, so you see that the program is where the program is positioned. And maybe I'm a little bit long, but I wanted to show you the genesis of the program. Why? What you are doing, and I could have written it inverted it, you are answering to a topic. So you have a topic at the bottom here in red, which is describing what you have to submit and what is the content of the topic that you are addressing. So, for instance, improve crime scene investigation related to transfer, persistence, and background abundance. And you have a text which is two pages, basically, around, which describe the topic. But this topic is part of what we call a destination. So it addresses a subpart of a more general thematics or domain, which is better protect the EU and its citizens against crime. And this is also 1 or 2 page or 3 page describing this destination, which is part of the work program. And the work program is something that is written for 2 years, and every 2 years you have a new work program. This work program was implemented after defining what we call a strategic planning, which was written for 4 years. And this strategic planning is basically the content of the program that was set as a general framework under the Horizon Europe program legal framework. So initially there were first the Horizon Europe legal framework for 7 years, then they define a strategic planification for the next 4 years, and then there will be another one for the next 3 years. Within this strategic planification, there is a work program to address it, which is built every 2 years. And in the work program, you have what we call clusters and destination and topics. But it's good to know all this hierarchy somehow, because when you are addressing and answering to a topic, you need to refer to the destination to understand the global scope, to understand also what is the strategy in the work program and what is the strategic planning you are part of, and of course to follow the administrative and legal framework of Horizon Europe. So just to summarize, you see a little bit the structure of the program: Horizon Europe 7 years, strategic planning 4 years, and work program every 2 years for specific project at the end, which lasts 3 to 4 years. And which are part of answering to the program every year. So about strategic approach for security, because here we are talking about the security specific cluster. The idea of this Horizon Europe is to focus on a proactive approach on security, not so much reactive. I mean, there were in the past quite a lot of subjects dealing with how to react, how to handle the crisis, how to recover, how to guarantee business continuity, and so on. Here, the program is focusing a lot on being proactive based on foresight, prevention, and anticipation. So what can you do by anticipation to not only to prevent, but eventually to better react and to better recover. So this is something that is the focus of the program. As I said, this civil security for society cluster, one thing I forgot to mention is the program is a civil program. So there is also in European program, there is also a European defense fund program. But this is here the civil security program. So civil security for society is supporting the EU policy priorities for civil security and cyber security, because you will see in the thematic of this program, you have to deal not only with the physical world, but the cyber world. And these two will be interlinked, and you better, in your proposal, take this into account. And even if it's not mentioned, this is the trend and the focus to make sure that you understand that the cyber dimension also of the problem. It is focused on capabilities. One specificity is to take into account in this European program is ethical outcomes. You have to deliver solutions that are ethical, and especially if you want to address and to get to the market, because otherwise, if it is not supported by the society, you may have problems to get to the market. And of course, you have to be, the focus is to demonstrate that you will be competitive at the end of the program, and all this money that is being invested by Europe has an impact, economic impact also, as mentioned before. So the program follows strategic orientation with expected impact. And as I said, the key strategic orientation of Europe, there are a few, and there are two that are specific for security. One is about the more resilient, inclusive, and democratic European society. So you have to remember that anything we do in terms of security has to help us to be more resilient, to be more inclusive, and while still being democratic and even more democratic if possible. And the second aspect, which is very strong now in this new program, is promoting an open strategic autonomy. So there is also an emphasis on the way you can be autonomous in your security, be it physical or cyber. So the program is structured in 6 destinations. For 2022, you see more or less the budget, which is around 190 million euro for this different destination. So you have the fight against crime and terrorism, effective management of EU external border, resilient infrastructure, increased cybersecurity, and disaster resilient society for Europe. And the last one, strengthen security research and innovation, is more on how to help to move on from research and innovation to the market. So as you can see on the slide, the deadline for this call for this year is to submit the proposal by the end of November. So we are focusing on effective management of EU external border here because this was a thematic of the morning in a general broad sense, but I wanted to emphasize the impact that is expected from the program. We want to not to close the border. We want to have it open to travel more easily, because the one way to solve the security of the border is to close them completely. But it is not the purpose. The purpose is to which is a real challenge of this, and that's why we need the research and innovation, is to ease the crossing of the border for everything that is licit. And to make sure that the experience crossing the border is not a bad one, because this is really an objective of Europe, while at the same time guaranteeing that everything that is illicit, being illicit trades, trafficking, piracy, terrorism, or any other criminal acts, are prevented. So this is a real challenge. And of course, this the target is not any kind of flow, so it can be through the air, through the land, the sea. We will see that there is a specific call on undersea control and surveillance, awareness, and control. And this year, especially in 2022, there is a focus on maritime security. Yes. Yes.
Would it still be possible to apply for land holders?
You have to, what is very important is to read carefully the topic. Yeah. So you will see that there are basically three topics that are explicit in. Maybe I will go directly to it right away. Here you will see. I will answer your question. Thank you for it. So first one, as I was mentioning, was about underwater detection and control capabilities to protect maritime areas and sea harbors. So this one is very specific on maritime and especially underwater detection. So this was not addressed in the past last year, and this was not addressed for quite some time underwater. So now it is addressed here. But there is another one which is more focused on the people. So this one is about detection, global control underwater. The next one is about the people, and so to combat the fraud and to manage the identity of the people, and to all the travel documents and all the biometrics. Everything is here to be checked and enhanced in terms of security. So this is more about people. The second one. And the third one could be part, because better, more portable, quicker analysis and detection for custom is a topic where you want to. I just summarize very rapidly what is expected. You have portable and easy to deploy solutions, and it's not specific to maritime or whatever. So you have here. It's more about goods, how to check, how to detect. And to analyze what is going through in an efficient way, to be with specific capabilities for the custom people. So there is new drugs also. So it's forward thinking, saying how can you get detectors, systems that are handling the future of the trafficking. In terms of new drugs, you have also to recognize them. You have to be able to detect luggages. So it's about more the flow of the supply chain or the luggages. It's not about the people. The people is a previous call for their identity and paper and documents. This one is about the goods. somehow, be it through a supply chain or directly through a border. So how do you and what kind of system you can propose that will be easily deployable, portable, so it's more focused on something very easy to set up and to deploy. So maybe this could be a way, I don't know your project, but it could be an opportunity to resubmit or refocus your project to focus on these kind of things. And there are two others which are interesting because it is completely open. When you see the color, because some are more research and innovation, and the other are innovation. You see TRL 57 or 78. I finished. These two topics are open. So basically, you can submit whatever you want. The only constraint, and that could be a constraint for you especially, is that you better not answer to a call that was already asked before. So if you checked what was asked before, for instance, there were not so much emphasis on pandemia, for instance. So an open topic could be to try to handle border management of on the pandemia axis. It could be you have to be innovative and disruptive on this one. It's quite a nice project. It's smaller ones, as you can see, 3.5 million. But basically it's open, so you can really disrupt and try to be innovative on this one. So to finish, if you want more, I encourage you to go to the website of that is set up in France, which is called horizoneurope.gouv.fr. Of course, you have your European program site, which is horizoneurope.eu. But this one, we have done a lot of webinars presenting each course and trying to be as explicit as possible. And if you want any information, further information or contact, I encourage you to go directly to the root of the site, because you have a lot of materials, not only on the content of the program, but also on the recommendation in terms of administrative setup, in terms of legal aspects. And you have a FAQ and so on. So I hope I was clear enough, and you will be motivated to go and look. There is a real opportunity, in fact. Okay, thank you. I have sometimes, if you have some questions, anyway, I can. Okay.
Thank you. I have a question. I'm from Austria. We already participated in part of the project, and we have developed a mobile document checking device, so more in identity and document security. And we are looking for partners, especially also in France, Germany. Germany we know quite well, but also in France, if there is a list of potential companies for a possible consortium in several areas.
Good. So I encourage you to contact us directly and to go through your project and identify the right potential partners. Yeah, this is what our role as a national contact point is, to try to better understand the French ecosystem. So in terms of research lab, in terms of SMEs, in terms of industry, we are also in connection with the respective national contact point. So the Austrian. I know the lady which is a national contact point in Austria. We have a common project to get together and to see how we can share and better organize to help to build up this collaborative project, because it's a multinational project. So basically being together and sharing the best practices is a way to help building this project. And we don't know everybody, but we start to know quite to have a good picture of the French ecosystem in terms of companies and research lab and industry, if you need. And not only, there is also end users, which is very important in this program. You remember this security program, the cluster 3, is very specific in the sense that it's really focused on capacities. All the thematics, being health, be it digital and so on. This is one target to produce capacities and capabilities. But on security, it's especially requested, and on some of the topic, it's even requested that you associate governmental bodies. You associate basically the customer. So this, when you build such a project, it's quite unique because in the same project you have research entities, you have SMEs which develop technologies or subsystem or systems. You have large companies that try to put all this together into a system, a service, and you have end users that are part of the project. So this is a real co-innovation project, and I encourage you to look not only for companies in France, but also to look eventually for end users. The customs or the ministry.
End users we have quite a lot already.
So this is already a good point.
Just customers.
Okay.
You also did say that these programs last between then 3 to 4 years.
Yes.
I just know it from Padre it was 2 years. So is this longer?
It depends. I mean, if you are 3 years is a good average, I would say. Most I have done quite a few projects. That's why I'm now advising people how to do it. But I think that all the projects I've done, there were the one that were a little bit less than 3 years. They ended up being 3 years because of delays and so on. So that's why I say on average it's around 3 years. Some of the projects, especially the CSA I showed you, where you don't deliver a demonstration, an exercise, a big system that you have to demonstrate, they may last even 1 year, but they are much smaller and it's gathering. When you build a network, it's good not to build it within 3 or 4 years. You want it rapidly. So there are some of the projects, it's 1 year, but these are smaller projects. On average, I would say 3 years. But if you have a very specific, very targeted project and you can deliver within 2 years to the TRL, which is asked for while innovating and so on, which is also quite valid. There is no specificity, there is no request except when it is written in the call. For instance, that's why for the CSA, some of the networking activities, they may say this action, because they call each topic an action, this action should last no more than 14 months, or they can say that. But generally, they don't say it, and it's an average. Okay, is it clear? Was it clear? So don't hesitate to contact us. Thank you very much.